a new technology is proven, that they'll want to get their hands on the methodologies, etc. Whereas other areas where I've developed AI tools.
Beyond the clinical trials, how do you see AI coming in to reshape healthcare, pharma, medical devices?
The data is so fragmented. Every hospital system has their own sort of systems and processes and accessibility regimes. The access to data is just not there, right? You know, the Productivity Commission and other organisations have done a lot of work on emerging technologies and how they'll shape workforces.
AI is transforming medicine faster than we ever imagined. From clinical trials to wearable technology. Where is this all heading? And will AI replace doctors? Today, we unpack the future of healthcare, pharma, and science.
Yeah.
What are the advantages and disadvantages that you see in using machine learning in healthcare clinical trials?
Yeah, well, I think the advantages are well known, right? It's like improving efficiency, getting better outcomes. The disadvantages are probably less spoken about. So there's the ethics, right, that we touched on before. That's it can't be ignored. I was quite controversial in my reply around ethics, but it can't be ignored. And the other thing I would say is that within an organisation, you're always going to have people that love AI, they're adopters, and then there's others that are on the fence. But then there's also this group that are AI haters, and it doesn't matter what the use case is, for whatever reason, they're incredibly against AI, and whether it's the driverless car or using AI in clinical research, you're always going to get this level of resistance. So I think the dangers of introducing AI platforms and technologies is that you might alienate a certain percentage of your workforce. A lot of people think that the product may be taking their job within an organisation as well. To be frank, I haven't seen a lot of that yet. I've seen, I'm not dismissing that it doesn't happen, but I've seen the opposite, where it actually creates more opportunities than not. But that's some of the pitfalls in implementing AI strategies. And I would say healthcare in general is a very slow adopter of AI technologies, because the people in healthcare are scientists. They're evidence-based people, and they want to know that that a new technology is proven. They'll want to get their hands on the methodologies, etc. Whereas other areas where I've developed AI tools, people are just way more accepting, right? There's no questions asked. Like I develop AI tools in sports and things like that. But in healthcare, there's a great resistance unless something is actually demonstrated to work.
Yeah, I think we definitely are a little bit more skeptical and like the sort of robust, loads and loads of data. So forgive us for that.
Yeah,
Well,
it's fair as well.
You mentioned something interesting about sports and adopting technology much faster. One thing that has been in the media a little bit is wearable devices.
Yes.
How do you see that playing into the future of clinical trials and marrying up with AI and things like that?
Yeah, look, the ability to collect real-world data from patients, that's a total game changer. So just to give you a bit of context, one of the most important variables in our clinical trial model is how many interactions you have with the patient, what the patient burden is, like how many site visits do they need, how often do they need to go to the hospital. The potential to use wearables alleviates a lot of those patient burdens, and trials can become more patient-centric. So I think as this technology develops and becomes more and more accepted, I know the FDA, for example, have a mandate to try to get more of these trials to be registered so that we can use real-world evidence. So I really see, wearables is one particular aspect. There might be apps that people interact with as well, particularly for pain-based indications. So yeah, using technology in general, led by wearables, is going to totally change the face of the way clinical trials and medical research is done today.
Yeah, and building on that, beyond the clinical trials, how do you see AI coming in to reshape healthcare, pharma, medical devices?
Yeah, so I think the biggest hurdle to AI being adopted in this area, apart from needing validation, is accessibility to data. So I'll give you an example. In Australia, the data, particularly for say hospital records, is so fragmented that even if you wanted to create an AI application that makes use of the incredible records that hospitals keep, the data is so fragmented. Every hospital system has their own sort of systems and processes and accessibility regimes. The access to data is just not there, right? So the more data that we can collect that is in a sort of model ready format, and wearables and etc. Lead very well into that. The faster that we can develop cutting edge technologies even outside of clinical trials. So I think it's a data problem more than anything, and the data custodians are traditionally hospitals, doctors, etc., and that data is locked up. But these emerging technologies can free that data up.
And yeah, the efficiency from that would be profound, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And the scale as well.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Bill Gates controversially said AI is coming in to replace teachers and doctors. This was last month, I think, on CNBC.
I did hear that.
And he was basically saying, look, these AI is basically like WebMD on steroids in your pocket. It's not going to give you attitude like your local GP. What are your thoughts on how AI is changing, professions and things like that? I know you said you probably haven't seen it replace people's jobs, and not that it hasn't happened, but yeah, I would love to get your opinion on that.
It's not often that I disagree with Bill Gates, but
He's a clever man.
yeah, look, and I think the Productivity Commission and other organisations have done a lot of work on emerging technologies and how they'll shape workforces. I think, let's just say, if you have a job where there's a lot of repetition, you're in danger that might be, those sort of roles are good candidates for machine learning models to do really well in, right? Where there's a lot of repetition. Yeah. But the jobs that Bill Gates described, I'm not sure that there is that much repetition in them. For example, like a teacher, like the interactions that they have with their students, that's not something that an AI model can easily replicate, right? Maybe the subject material may be streamlined through AI. I know in Australia, for example, if you're a teacher, there's no one resource that you can get to actually come up with a curriculum. You actually have to do that yourself, come up with curriculum even at primary school level. So maybe these tools can make teachers more efficient, so they're not wasting their time repeating what's previously been done in terms of curriculums, but actually spend more time delivering the material and connecting with their students. And I think it's the same with doctors as well. I think doctors are in 15-minute intervals, right, when they have a consultation with their patient. I don't know if you've been to the doctor lately, like I have, where they've started Googling. They sort of they're Googling symptoms, they're Googling, I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's just the doctor that I've been seeing. But, if that material is more readily available, maybe they can spend more time asking questions and getting the right information from the patient to plug into the diagnosis tool. So I think the shape of the jobs will change, but not actually the jobs themselves. That's my feeling, is that the repetitive tasks can be taken out and people can actually focus on the value that they can provide outside of those repetitive tasks.
Yeah, getting rid of the mundane part of our jobs. And I have to definitely admit, I've used AI to it's been my little virtual assistant to do the mundane tasks, like replying to emails.
Yeah. Have you used one of the WebMDs or one of those AI tools to diagnose your condition?
No, I should give it a play.
I used one the other day, and I was just playing around, and I sort of got the answer, and I thought, I'm not sure about that. And then I just said, are you sure that's the answer? Because this might be the case. And then it gave me another answer, like my percentage chance of having this thing decreased. And it was only because I questioned it. I was like, well, I don't know how developed these things are yet. So, yeah, they will be in time, though.
Yeah, that's so fast. Actually, you remind me, one of the guests that we've had on the channel is Amit. He's a medical entrepreneur, and he actually won a prize for this initiative. He's got this thing, it's called an MBot, like a medical chatbot, but it only draws on sort of published clinical research and medical paper rather than the whole Wide World Web, because there can be rubbish in that. And so maybe that might be an exciting place and aligned, I guess, to what Bill Gates is thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Damon, for coming onto the channel. Really enjoyed this time and learned so much. So yeah, super grateful, and just want to say thanks on behalf of myself and the channel's audience.
No worries, David. Thanks for having me, and good luck with the podcast. It's been a great discussion.
AI is no longer coming. It's already here, and it's here to stay. It's the future of medicine, and if you want to stay ahead of the curve, hit that subscribe button and join our community. And let me know in the comments below, will doctors be replaced by AI?